Hi again, everybody, and welcome to Inside Golf. I'm Harry Donahue. Today, I'm at Middletown Country Club in Langhorne, Bucks County. It was designed originally by Alex Finlay more than 100 years ago. Alex was a Scotsman, designed over 200 golf courses in the U.S. In fact, he's considered the father of American golf. George Fazio once owned this property. He also designed, sort of redesigned some of the holes, and he sponsored Gary Player. Yes, Gary Player, when he first came over from South Africa, was introduced every time on the tee, including when he won the Masters, as Gary Player from Langhorne Country Club, which was Middletown's original name, whenever he stepped on the first tee. It has quite a history. Johnny Miller played here, so did Ben Hogan, and we'll be back. It's Inside Golf at Middletown Country Club, coming up next.
The 25th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf. Your next golf getaway is in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Visit montcogolf.com. By the First Tee Greater Philadelphia. The First Tee not only helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit firstteephiladelphia.org. By the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, a community of professionals enhancing the game of golf since 1925. Make sure you thank your golf course superintendent today. By Gap, celebrating 125 years of amateur golf. By Jersey Man and Philly Man Magazine, a digital publication and private business network. Read the current issue free at jerseymanmagazine.com. By the Haverford Trust Company. For life's must-haves, there's Haverford. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia PGA Section, the experts in the game and business of golf.
Golf is the great equalizer. For many, this journey is an escape from reality, a chance to be part of a team, a career opportunity. PGA Reach impacts lives through golf by lifting people up, giving them hope, and sending them down an alternate path that they never saw coming. With PGA Reach Philadelphia, as in life and in golf, the most important shot you take is the next one.
And welcome back to Inside Golf. Welcome back to Middletown Country Club, Langhorne, Bucks County. Doesn't get any better on a beautiful sunny spring morning. And of course, our host is Dan Hoban. Dan has been the head professional here at Middletown Country Club for almost 15 years.
My 14th season so far.
Roxborough guy. Used to play a lot at, of course, we did recently here on Inside Golf, Walnut Lane. And there are some similarities. We'll get into that.
Very much so.
In terms of the topography and the type of golf course Middletown is as it compares with Walnut Lane. But let's talk a little bit. This is an historic property. It's over 100 years old. The anniversary was what?
2013.
Alex Finlay, who designed more than 200 golf courses in America, the Scotsman, more than 30 in Pennsylvania, and this is one of them, Tavistock, Lanark, Walnut Lane. They're all in the list of his designs. But tell us a little bit more about the history, because from Finlay you got into George Fazio, there's a Gary Player connection, there's a Johnny Miller connection. It's marvelous.
Yeah, a lot of people, we've kind of uncovered a lot of the history in the last decade or so. A lot of folks from the area knew about George Fazio. The original course was a rudimentary 9-hole course on the other side of Pine Road. We traced that back to 1900. We recognize 1913 because that's when they moved over here to our current location. The history, Ben Hogan played here in an exhibition in 1941, and later on in our history, around 1960, George Fazio acquired the ownership of the club, I believe at the same time that he had Flowertown Country Club, and he met a young professional at the Greenbrier who was from South Africa. And he said, I like your game. I think you can make it on the American Tour. How much are your expenses for a year? $3,000.
And that young player was, of course, Gary Player, and they formed a relationship. George was his sponsor, and he used to, every time he was introduced at a PGA Tour event, from Langhorne Country Club Gary Player. How about that?
Yeah, and it was, we were lucky enough to host him in November of 2020. And it was, luckily I didn't have to play. His two grandsons and a good friend of his played as a foursome, and I basically shot yardages for him, showed him around the course, and he played the blue tees, never saw the golf course before, and shot 68.
How about that? And even though he was considered from Langhorne Country Club, he had never played the golf course until you had him here a couple of years ago.
The arrangement he had with George Fazio was that he never had to come here, and he was so gracious that day, and he was so thankful because he thought Langhorne didn't exist anymore, because the name changed when the township acquired the club in 1987. So I think it was just a victim of the name change, that's all.
How about that?
But he couldn't have been more gracious. Anyone that wanted a picture, anyone that wanted a cap or a ball sign, he was unbelievable.
Yeah, and it was also his birthday, 85, around that time.
It was like a couple days prior. We presented him with a birthday cake, and he was so gracious. I found a Gary Player golf ball, a Shakespeare Gary Player golf ball.
In the bin. Somewhere in the bin,
somewhere
huh?
in an old bin of golf balls, and I put it on a tee right in the cake, and he started telling a story about how he won the U.S. Open with that golf ball.
How about that? Yeah, the Black Knight, and of course he also won in 1961 the PGA Championship at Aronimink. He has an honorary membership at Aronimink, and then on the tee from Langhorne Country Club, Mr. Gary Player.
I remember one time I was sitting in the golf shop, and Golf Channel used to run those reruns of Big Three golf, and I was just doing something, and it was kind of background noise, and all of a sudden I hear, and playing out of the Langhorne Country Club, Gary Player. I almost fell off my seat.
A lot of people did. Let's talk about the evolution from Alex Finlay to George Fazio. You've had some other architects work on this golf course. When was the last renovation done here?
Last renovation was done 2 years ago. We redid the 11th and 13th greens out on the back nine. One is a drivable par 4, and the other one is probably, I would say, one of our signature holes, a pretty long par 4 over a pond. There's a lot of natural springs in those areas, so over the course of 100 years, the two original greens started settling and changing pitch, and because of lack of hole locations, we had to redo those greens, and they're much better now.
We talked a little bit about the topography here, similar to what we saw at Walnut Lane a few weeks ago. It's hilly, it's very scenic, it's tight. Maybe not as tight as Walnut Lane, but compared to what is going on now in golf, where there's a big tree removal program, et cetera, this is a pretty tight golf course.
We have undertaken a tree removal program in the last year or so, especially with the ash trees that are all up and down the East Coast. They're all dying. But there were a lot of other trees that had encroached over the years, or maybe gotten a little bit hazardous, so they've been taken out, and it's a lot more playable. Part of some of the feedback we hear that it's challenging because there's not a level lie on the golf course, and if you find one, let me know. But for a lot of folks, it's this is a golf course that is living proof that it doesn't have to be 7,500 yards to be challenging.
Right. Well, as Gary Player said, it's probably the most challenging 6,100-yard golf course he has ever played. And as you know, Gary Player, worldwide traveler,
played a few places,
has seen it all. Well, let's talk about, when you talk about playability, golf has gone through a boom in the last couple of years, number of rounds. Now, what do you anticipate this year compared to, say, pre-COVID days?
Well, the last 2 years we've done about 34,000 rounds on a little 6,100-yard golf course. In 2019, before COVID, we were just about 30,000, and anticipating this year, I don't see it changing anytime soon. The folks that wrote Golf's Funeral, I think, were sorely mistaken, and we never have seen the boom that the COVID did for the golf industry. Obviously, you would never want to have something like that at a loss of life. But I think as an industry, we proved countrywide that we could operate and keep our guests safe, and they could be able to do something outside in the fresh air where, golf has its own natural social distancing.
Right.
So, talk to other golf professionals around the entire area, and we're all saying the same thing. We're working pretty hard.
We will be back. More from Middletown. We're going to ask Dan if he has one or two favorite holes on this 18-hole championship track. We'll get that information, and we'll also get information on Johnny Miller's ties. Yeah, Johnny Miller, who married a girl from Bucks County, and not only played golf here, but he fished.
Yes,
fished here and caught
Yes,
a
he
big
did.
carp one day. We'll be back. More from Middletown here on Inside Golf.
For over 2 decades, First Tee has created experiences that build character. We believe every kid deserves to feel supported, safe to try something new, and to be prepared for what comes next. We develop their swing, but more importantly, their inner strength. Because we know what's inside doesn't just count, it changes the game. Come join us at First Tee.
You don't have to go away to get away. Go and explore. Find the small businesses that make where you live a community. When you dine, choose homemade. On a free weekend, discover the great outdoors. And if it's brewed here, enjoy it with friends. Support small for an experience you won't find anywhere else. Make it local, make it Main Street, make it Modco.
Well, the Middletown club champion is Brian Zaharchik. Brian, you're a Bucks County native.
Yes.
You played college hockey for New Hampshire.
Yes.
Okay, so you have a great swing. And club champion, what's your best score here?
I've had a few 65s over the years.
A few 65s, not one or two, huh?
A few.
Okay. How long you been club champion?
Well, I've been in the finals many times. Actually, this year was the first year I won it.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
What do you like best about Middletown?
The people, great group of guys, great group of members. We have scat groups that play here daily, weekends. I just feel at home here. Always have, never left.
And welcome back. Inside Golf continues from Middletown Country Club in Langhorne, Lower Bucks County. The head pro is Dan Hoban. And Dan, we teased a little bit about coming back and taking a look at two of your favorite holes. This is number 2. Why?
Well, the second hole here is a dogleg right par 4. Wind is usually always in your face, and as you can see, it's a slight dogleg right, and it follows the Middletown legend that I've heard about since day one, that everything breaks toward the railroad tracks.
Which run parallel to the hole.
Parallel to the hole, but it's not the railroad tracks, and the Chamonix Creek is down in the bottom of the valley. But you want to take your tee shot up the left side so that it favors the center of the fairway, and the green, the dogleg, and it's a 2-tier green, so you have to judge your club selection appropriately, and 4 is a good score. Well, anytime you play. If you can start off 4-4 on 1 and 2, your scorecard's going to like you.
Is that what Gary Player did a few years ago?
He started out 4-4 and made it look routine.
Right. Well, that's Gary Player.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, how about on the back 9? What's your fave there?
Back 9 is probably the 13th hole. It's about a 420-yard par 4. It's a dogleg right. Longer hitters can try to knock it down the hill to have a short pitch over a pond into a 2-tier green. Longer hitters are probably going to have a mid-iron to long iron into the green. And again, judging the wind is paramount, because for some reason that hole always plays into the wind, even though it faces a different direction. And sometimes the fish in the pond, signal fair catch.
Speaking of the fish in the pond, perfect introduction to our next little tale here concerning Middletown. It involves none other than the great Johnny Miller. Tell us about it.
Well, Johnny Miller's wife, Linda, grew up in Humeville, which is the next town on the other side of Route 1. And I met him at the 2010 Masters at a practice round, and just happened to walk up to him and said, "Mr. Miller, I'm the head professional at a club you would know as Langhorne Country Club. It's now called Middletown Country Club. Do you remember playing there?" And his eyes lit up and he says, "Oh my gosh, yes, I remember playing there when Linda and I were dating, and do you still have those 2 ponds on 16 and 17? And then he proceeded to go on for about 2 minutes about this 10-pound carp that he caught out of one of our ponds.
He didn't want to talk about
He didn't want to talk about the golf course. No, he was telling me his whole story about this big fish he caught. And you know, not that we encourage fishing in those ponds, but no, it's funny how you know, World Golf Hall of Famer was talking more about fishing than the golf course. But
how about that? Johnny Miller with a fishing rod and not a driver here at Middletown. That's a great story. And another great story is what he does as a side job. You have for several years been a public address announcer for your alma mater, Roman Catholic High School in Philadelphia, the basketball team, and also for Jefferson University. Speedy Mars was the coach a lot of those years at Roman, and the great Hall of Famer, none other than Herbie McGee at Jefferson, just finished up his career. What was that like? How'd you get into that?
Unfortunately, the day that John McAdams passed away, you know, Hall of Fame PA announcer of the Big Five, Coach Shirley called me the day he passed away and asked me if I wanted to do the games full time. It's a hobby for me. I'm a basketball junkie, and the ownership that I work for here, Mr. and Mrs. Hill, they allow me to do the basketball
Sneak
game.
out and do a couple
Let's
games.
sneak out. I mean, most of the games are at night, but it's a labor of love. I love the kids. I love the coaches.
Well, I know
And-
how much Herbie loves to play golf. Have you had him here in Middletown?
Not yet.
Oh, you got to get him up. Oh, come up.
It's funny. It's funny. His last game that I worked was his first round playoff game, and I went up to Coach and I said, "Coach, it's been an honor and privilege. I'd love to play golf with you someday."
All right, Herb. You and I and Dan will bring the cameras. We'll make a day of it. Stay with us. Coming up next, we'll have our teed off panel, and then we'll be back with more of Inside Golf from Middletown.
Get into the
Get a feel.
get into the routine a little bit.
For what's coming.
Welcome back. Inside Golf continues with our teed off panel, and today we are at Lulu Country Club in Upper Dublin Township. If you would like to come here to Lulu, maybe be a member, you can go to their website, lulucc.com, and we'll see you, as they say, at the Lou. All right, here at the Lou today, we have Marty Emino, Director of Communications from the Golf Association of Philadelphia, and a proud member of the U, not the Lou, alumni. Right? Like the
Correct.
way I worked that in?
Very good.
A hurricane.
A hurricane.
Joe Logan of myphillygolf.com, longtime golf journalist, and always a pleasure to see Joe here on our panel. And Courtney Curcio is back. Courtney is the foundation's director at the Philadelphia section of the PGA of America. Marty, you've been playing golf for a long time, I know. Your looks belie your actual age. You're a young at heart guy and young in
thank you.
spirit and everything
That could
else.
be the nicest thing you've ever said
So
to me.
over the course of time, do you have a standard routine when it comes to playing a round of golf? Walk us through the timeline.
I don't know if I'd have a standard one. Just kind of get there, like to hit a couple balls on the range. Do
How
like
far
to get
in
a little
advance
loose.
of you? Like if you have a 10 o'clock
if I have
tee
10
time.
o'clock, I won't get there to 9:30.
Really?
A half hour.
Okay.
Hit some balls on the range. Try to end it hitting a good driver, since that's typically the club I'm going to hit on the first tee, so we can have a good visual.
So you start off with the
Start
driver?
off with a wedge.
A wedge.
Wedge, end with the driver,
Okay.
and hit a good drive, and then walk away, so as not to, put any more bad images in my mind.
I got you.
Head to the putting green, maybe putt one or two, and then head to the first tee.
Okay. So pretty concise. Joe?
Well, if I have a 10 o'clock tee time, I also try to get there at 9:30, but it usually doesn't work out like that. I usually get there more like 9:45 or 10 till 10, and I'm running out of card tying my shoes. And I will, if I have time to hit balls, I will. More than likely, though, I'll reach into my bag and pull out my orange whip, which, have you ever seen those things? They're great, yeah. Swing that a few times.
You
to
can
get
do that at
loose.
home, though, before you even go to the
I
golf
keep
course.
it in my bag because you just never know.
Okay.
Then I try to miss a few putts just to, get
To get into the
Get a feel.
get into the routine a little
yeah,
bit.
for what's coming. And
You start off with lengthy putts or short putts and work back.
I like to miss them short.
Okay.
And then work back.
What happens if you make one? Do you say I'm quitting?
Well,
or-
it's a freak of circumstance, and you just move on with your life, knowing it's not likely to happen a lot during the round.
I got you.
Making putts. And then I knock one OB on the first tee, and
Wow.
not
You still
really.
play this game?
I do no. Actually, no. I'm actually driving it well now. But I try to get there early, but I never do. Something always happens, and I just try to, I'm usually warm by about the 6th hole.
Maybe you should set your clock like, you know,
Oh, that's what
back
other people
or
tell me
forward or
too.
something, huh? Courtney, how about you?
If it's a 10 o'clock tee time, I'm usually there around 9:15 to give myself enough time.
So you're
I'm
an
an early bird
compared to these other two.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that I head to the range. My theory is that all my good shots need to be used during the round. That I don't want to use them all in
Overdo
the
it?
range. So I usually hit a couple of putts just to make sure that I can see the greens and everything. But that's kind of usually my short routine. But get there early. I
Get
will
there
say.
early and keep it really short.
Yeah.
Do you have any, shall I say, superstitions in terms of, like, say, eating anything before you play? Or how far in advance will you have something to eat?
I'm usually eating on that first tee.
Really?
Yeah, I don't usually have any
A
superstitions.
power bar or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, usually. Something that will keep me for the first 9.
Joe, do you like to have a full stomach?
Pink lemonade, I drink all through the round. I have a,
Pink? Why
Pink lemonade.
Why not regular lemonade?
Pink is better. It's a well-known fact.
I didn't know that, but thanks for informing me. Huh? Okay, so pink lemonade. Where do you carry it in a
In a you know, one of
plastic
those-
container,
yeah,
water
like
bottle?
a thermosy thing, kind of like people carry in golf carts.
And you never run out of it? I mean, you take
No, I get a big enough one that
How about that?
it'll, you know.
Hey, you're the only guy that I know who drinks pink lemonade all the way through. How about that?
very
See
manly.
what you find out on this show?
Hold on. Diet pink lemonade.
Yeah.
Diet.
That's
Make
really
sure we
Whatever
make
that
that.
means, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no sugar.
I know, that's right.
How about your food versus no food intake
Nah,
versus
you know,
not?
just kind of depending on what time of the day is. You know.
Try to get that out of the way before you come
Yes,
to the golf
we try
course?
to do that.
Okay. How about on the course, Joe? Do you have like Al Geiberger? A lot of people probably don't know that name, but he was like one of the original 59 guys, right, on the PGA Tour. He used to always have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in his bag. Now, on hot days, that may not be a good idea, but how about you? Do you ever have something stashed
Actually,
away besides the diet pink lemonade?
I was shocked one day watching Tiger play, and he reached into his bag and pulled out a sandwich, which what shocked me was that's the sandwich I make, which is peanut butter and bananas. I don't know anybody else that makes that. That may be common, but no one I know.
I think it's a little more common than pink lemonade, actually. I've done that myself. Do you like to munch during a round of golf?
Yeah, I usually have like crackers or chips in my bag that I usually put in each round because I get hungry out there. But you don't want to be hangry, that's for sure.
No.
You want to be a good partner or teammate.
Absolutely. And if you're playing with Joe, make sure you bring a couple bottles of
Yeah.
diet pink lemonade. Thank you, panel. Always an interesting little discussion here on Teed Off. We'll be back. More of Inside Golf in a moment. Designed by Donald Ross, Lulu Country Club is one of the premier private golf courses in Montgomery County. This classic 18-hole course boasts a new state-of-the-art clubhouse with many amenities for members to enjoy. Members are invited to play in events, tournaments, and enjoy guest privileges. For more information, contact membership at lulucc.com. The oldest state or regional golf association in the country hits a milestone this year. GAP celebrates its 125th birthday. Celebrating amateur golf since 1897, GAP has evolved to include 300-plus member clubs, more than 90,000 individual members. It offers events for males and females of all ages and ability levels. GAP continues to uphold its mission to preserve, protect, and promote the game of golf. Happy birthday, GAP.
With a full range of BMW X vehicles available, no matter what adventure lies around the corner, there's an X for that. Hurry in, release a 2022 BMW X3 X-Drive 30i for $579. Come on.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Inside Golf at Middletown Country Club with host pro Dan Hoban. Dan, if people are interested, you have daily fee as well as some memberships. Summer season is coming on strong. What's the best way for them to get information?
Well, you can go to our website, www.middletownCC.com. All of our information about our daily fee rates and our memberships and our leagues and our Men's Golf Association, our Ladies Golf Association, our junior program is all on there. They can also like us on Facebook. We're Middletown CC Langhorne, PA, and our Twitter handle is @MiddletownCC.
And you can come and play and say you played the same golf course where the legends like Ben Hogan, Gary Player, celebrating his 85th birthday here, and where Johnny Miller fished in one of the ponds. The Johnny Miller with a fishing rod here at Middletown. A lot of stories, a lot of stories,
a lot of history,
and a lot of history at this idyllic setting in Lower Bucks County. Hey, coming up in the weeks ahead here on Inside Golf, we're going to be talking to some caddies, current caddies on the tours, and also caddies that go back, like to the days of the IVB Championship in White Marsh. In particular, a man who then was a teenager and caddied for a winner, Don January. Also, we go back to Saucon, getting ready for this year's Senior Open. Mimi Griffin and Dave Kennedy. Dave is the president at Saucon, and Mimi does all the suites and everything else, the corporate sales, getting ready for the big event in June this year at Saucon Valley. I'm Harry Donahue with Dan Hoban, and remember, no matter how bad it's going for you out there, don't pick up. We'll see you next time right here on Inside Golf.
The 25th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf. Your next golf getaway is in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Visit montcogolf.com. By the First Tee Greater Philadelphia. The First Tee not only helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit firstteephiladelphia.org. By the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, a community of professionals enhancing the game of golf since 1925. Make sure you thank your golf course superintendent today. By Gap, celebrating 125 years of amateur golf. By Jersey Man and Philly Man Magazine, a digital publication and private business network. Read the current issue free at jerseymanmagazine.com. By the Haverford Trust Company. For life's must-haves, there's Haverford. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia PGA Section, the experts in the game and business of golf.